What's up, guys? It's me, Tommy T, my beautiful wife, Artieka. We're back once again, season 3 of August Love Story, man. A lot has changed since. No, well, not a lot has changed since the last episode, but we definitely
we quarantined. That's a lot that has changed.
we have definitely been
not quarantine, socially distancing
throughout this whole
year.
This year, 2020 has been really wild so far.
Yep.
But this episode, man, pretty much what we're talking about is what everybody's been talking about, is this entanglement.
Yeah.
And what that means, and like we just gonna jump right into all of that good stuff. So yeah. And we probably talk about some other stuff too. I don't know. But
all right,
wherever the conversation leads, that's where we're going. So what you got?
So to give a little bit of backstory about Entanglements, Augustalsina, for his new album, did a sit-down interview with Angela Yee. And Angela Yee asked him about his relationship with Jada Pinkett Smith. And he went on this long, well, I won't say long, because it wasn't a long part of the interview, but it's the most talked about part of the interview, where he was discussing his relationship with her and how deeply he loved her, and how if he died tomorrow, he'll know that he did everything correctly as far as love is concerned. And the problem with that is that Jada's married to Will Smith for what, like 20 some years? Coming up on 25 years at this point. So Jada, who hosts a Facebook live talk show, Red Table Talk, then brought herself to the table with her husband, Will, and talked about her relationship with Augustalsina, which she described as an entanglement. Which, if you look up the definition, I don't have my phone in my hand right now, but if you look up the definition of entanglement, it's literally what the relationship was. A relationship that you shouldn't be in is essentially what an entanglement is. So, got all that backstory out of the way. A lot of people on social media have been discussing entanglements and what it means for them, what it means for their relationship, and what they should, like, how you should feel about it. So I was like, hey, married couple, let's discuss it.
Yeah.
So I guess my first question is, would you consider Jada to be wrong for having a quote unquote extramarital relationship, given the circumstances that she gave for this entanglement? Her and Will were separated after like 20 some years of marriage, or right at 20 years of marriage. And they had decided that they were not going to be together. Was she wrong for dating Augustalsina, or anyone for that matter? I'm not even gonna say August, just anyone for that matter.
Nah.
Okay.
The reason why I say no is they were separated. Mm-hmm. And they came to the agreement. Like, I watched the
Red Table Talk.
Yeah, I watched that episode, and I thought it was pretty good. Mm-hmm. As far that was like, their relationship is like one of the most grown relationships I ever saw in my life.
Okay, define grown. Like, I don't disagree with you.
Like, that is some real adult stuff.
Okay.
And mature things to do, because Will basically was like, I'm not making you happy, and I'm tired of trying to make you happy when it's not working.
Mm-hmm, because you need to be happy within yourself. Right. I can't make you happy.
Right. And so being mature enough and being knowing themselves enough, or knowing their relationship enough to say, hey, we need to separate, because they were on the edge of being divorced.
And then you have a lot of states where in order to get divorced, you have to separate.
Yeah.
I don't know if California is a legal separation state, But there are a lot of states that you have to actually like be separated for X amount of time before you can actually get a divorce.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what you say, like you have to go and sign paperwork that says, I agree that we're separated. I agree that we're separated. I can't just make a rash decision because technically marriage can be a rash decision if you think about it, because you can just go down to the courthouse
and get married
and sign the papers that day. But it takes a lot more to get divorced than it does to get married. Right. So I agree with you. Yeah. I'm going to start by saying that that doesn't happen a lot.
No, it doesn't.
So I agree.
Tommy, you're right. Doesn't happen a lot.
It doesn't happen a lot. Tommy, you are right. I agree with you. Like, it is, for me, it is a very adult decision to say that we're not going to be together and I'm not going to be bitter about you moving on with someone else.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens most of the time. Mm-hmm. When people move on into other relationships, a lot of people say, you need to be completely done with me. Like, for example, I know I just watched, you didn't watch it with me, but I watched a little behind the scenes things of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Yeah. And one of the guys that's on that show dated his wife for 7 years before they got married. And his ex-wife, even though she's remarried, does not like his wife because she says that she doesn't like how they got together because they were introduced to each other before his divorce was final. Not that they dated, but that they were introduced to each other. And it's like, how is that any of your business? Because if he's moved on from this woman and you want to say that she's a homewrecker or he's a cheater, be okay with the fact that you're no longer with this cheater of a man.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. But I also think that right now I'm in a happy marriage. Yeah. And I don't know how bitter I would be on the other side.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on how things ended.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I think a lot of times people are just looking too deep into what the other person is doing. Mm-hmm. Because like with Will and Jada and this entanglement, like this relationship, call it what it is. Mm-hmm.
Will said, and what was it, Jada?
Right. This relationship she had with August, it's like, it's interesting to us because of who they are.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And oh my God, I hate when people are like, I don't care. Why are you commenting on it then? Yeah. Because it's pop culture.
No, it's definitely, but it's for me, it was a way to look at something. Mm-hmm. Like we not going through it or anything like that. Nobody's entangled with anybody else.
I'm entangled with Lily.
But it's just something to actually gravitate to, see how it was handled in case something like that happens to you, because I believe the way that they handled that was superb.
Right. I wish that they did not have to handle it
publicly.
Yeah, in the public eye, because what you do in your marriage is not up for other people's consumption.
Right.
But unfortunately for them, it is.
Yeah.
So
like it's not that it's not up for consumption, because for us, it's like everybody like looks to each other to help with each other, because we all go through issues, we all go through problems and stuff. It's just how we resolve those issues, how we conflict resolution. You know what I'm saying? How well are we doing that? And you get different ideas from different people, from different relationships, and you're constantly learning who each other are. You're constantly growing as different people. And the key is to grow at the same rate of each other. Now, one may grow here in an area more than the other one, but it's up to both of you guys to still come together on that same, what got you to the point to where y'all married at. You know what I'm saying?
And that's hard to do because we all grow at different speeds, which is what I think and this is just me taking what they said in their red table talk, I think that they weren't growing at the same rate.
Right.
I think that Will had one thing going against him when it came to divorce, was that he had previously been married and divorced before.
Yeah.
And I also believe that part of the reason that he did not, like, he and Jada got married when Jada was pregnant. She was 3 months pregnant with Jaden when they got married. And I think that Will looked at things like, I'm not going to make these mistakes again. I'm going to be married. It is going to work. And that's that. Because they said on another episode of Red Table Talk that they were committed to a life partnership. There was no, we're getting a divorce.
Yeah.
You might be on this end of the house with somebody. I might be on that end of the house with somebody. But we're going to be under the same roof together and married.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know how I feel about that. But I've also seen an aerial shot of their house. And I mean, it could work.
It definitely could
like,
work.
it could work in a compound.
But that was and I always looked at their marriage as a different way to look at marriage, because we all have those traditional ideas and stuff. And even having an idea like that, we're life partners. We're together forever. It's essentially what life partners are.
Yeah.
Where the confusion come in with their marriage is, well, what if you really don't like that person? What if you wake up one morning and you realize this person wasn't the person for me?
I think that's when your marriage becomes open.
Yeah.
And once you have an open marriage, what do we say? That's how you
that leads to threesomes.
I don't know if they had a threesome or not.
I don't know.
But I think that once you get into the open marriage aspect of it all, you have to set rules and boundaries.
Yeah, of course.
Which was one of my other questions. Did August violate their relationship?
For sure.
Why do you say he violated their relationship?
Simple reason is because why are you talking about them? In the sense of, why is it everybody's? I
don't think he talked about them. I felt like he talked about Jada.
That's what I'm saying. When I'm just using the good old y'all, them.
Okay, Southerner.
Us, we, you know.
Mom and them.
All them. But no, like with him, and like you told me earlier, because I didn't watch the interview that Angela Yee had asked him about Jada.
Yeah, she specifically asked him about his relationship with Jada.
I think him going deeper into it was doing too much. I think for him to kind of like say, hey, yeah, we dated, boom, and go head on. Like, because...
But I think it's hard for you to say, I dated Jada, and Jada's been married for 25 years. And you're like, what, 26, 27?
Yeah, like that. And that was the thing. It's like, it you know, the simple fact that he actually had a relationship with this married woman, and you know, people knew about it and stuff like that. The fact that that actually happened was gonna bring so much heat anyway. And I don't know what all he said about it or how it all went down, but Jada and
he
Will,
loved her dirty drawers.
That's what he said.
I mean, that's not what he said, but that's what I got.
Oh, yeah, like that. That's just going too far for me. Like, if you're gonna talk about it, I think she should have been the one to talk about, like, how they went to the red table and her and Will talked to each other. That's the way it should have been presented in the first, to me.
Well, I think that if he had gone to the red table, he couldn't control the narrative.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he was very interested in was making sure that he was not looked at like a home wrecker.
Yeah. Because
he said that Will gave him permission or approval. I can't remember which word he used.
Yeah.
But basically, so it's to say, Will said, it's cool that you messing off with my wife.
Yeah.
But Will also said in his red table talk, like in the discussion, that he was done with Jada. So he wasn't worried about what she was doing, which also leads me to believe Will had some stuff going on the side.
Of course.
Will just wasn't talking to someone that was, I don't want to say famous enough, but he wasn't talking to someone that was
that wasn't asked about their relationship.
Yeah, not even just asked about the relationship. Someone that didn't feel the need to confirm that they were in a relationship with a married man. And I say that because it would be you talking about your failed relationship. Yeah. Because he and Jada are back together. Yeah. So obviously the relationship that he's talking about is a failed one.
Yeah. With Will and his reaction to everything. Mm-hmm. And basically, like, he didn't say anything about his stuff because his stuff
wasn't on the line.
Right.
It wasn't the dirty laundry.
Right. Basically, nobody has come up and said, hey, I was dating Will, or
Will might be my baby daddy.
Nobody said that. Mm-hmm. So that's why it was okay for Will to, sit there and be supportive, because he was very supportive of all these memes talking about all the memes that's out and stuff like that.
They have him as the new Michael Jordan crying face.
Yeah.
Like, he's everywhere. And honestly, like, I feel like, and people are talking negatively about it, saying that it was a produced response. Rule number 1 of damage control is control the narrative. Yeah. You make sure that what is getting put out is what you want put out. You don't just like put some out and then let the chips fall where they may. Like, you literally go into it saying, this is what we're talking about. Yeah. We are not deviating from this. If you deviate from it, I am cutting it out.
Right.
That's period.
Right. But, so like, I just feel like, when it comes to marriages and stuff like that, you have to figure out what works for your marriage, what doesn't work for your marriage, what is inside your home.
Right.
And for them to make that decision, that was such a mature decision. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't say that enough, but for them to make that decision to say, hey, figure it out.
Right.
I'm going to step back and I'm going to do my thing. You step back and do your thing. Let's figure this thing out, because we are about to get divorced if we don't do something.
Right. And people don't realize how often people get separated because we don't talk about it. Yeah. Usually what happens is you separate. If you decide that you're going to get back together, then you just continue on business as usual. Right. Nobody says, I left him for 2 years, or I left him for 2 months, or I left her for 2 years or 2 months, or whatever it may be. Nobody has those conversations with the general public.
So I feel like we've talked enough about entanglements and stuff. Like, I just feel like she used that, and now it's gonna be like every time some BS happens or something like that, it's gonna be used.
Untangled. What did Darius Rucker say? Uncouple.
That's why I was gonna bring up. Like, why are people using these different words? Like, what's the point in not being genuine and what it, like, call it what it is. Call a spade a spade.
It sounds good.
But it sounds dumb to me, man.
I mean, that's just like when you think about it, like confusing. When you think about it, like, life partner does not a marriage mate, because you can be a life partner with somebody you're not married to.
Yeah.
So it's all about word choice and how it fits the narrative that you want to have. Like, uncoupling means we broke up. Yeah. Like, just say we not together anymore.
Yeah.
And it's okay to not be together anymore unless you have things riding on your togetherness. Because you think about it. If we weren't together, we would not be able to produce August Love Story.
Yeah.
Because the entire premise of this is about us being together.
Right.
Now, if we were with other people after having been together, that's weird. Like, to say we're gonna have August Love Story, but this love story didn't work out. Right. So here's my new dude and here's his new girl, and the four of us gonna get on here together. It's just awkward.
That's just a lot.
Yeah, it's awkward.
August Love, it's just a lot.
It's awkward. So I don't know that Jada used an appropriate word when you look up the definition of entanglement. But Jada did not want to call a thing because she had a relationship.
Yeah.
And it was an extramarital relationship, even though they were separated. As a general rule, I don't think that I could be with someone that was separated.
Yeah.
Because there's always the possibility of you going back to your spouse.
Yeah.
It's always. It's kind of like how people don't like mess with, like, talking to people that have kids, because they say that you always run back to the child's other parent.
Yeah.
When, you know, you tired of doing whatever you're doing because it's familiarity. Mm-hmm. It's even worse in marriage because it's harder to get away from that person.
Yeah.
Because literally you are in a legally binding contract that says, I'm your next of kin. Mm-hmm. If you die, they gonna call me. They ain't gonna call her. Like, if you got some money in the bank and you die, it's my money, not your girlfriend's.
Right.
So you have to look at it from that standpoint of what the relationship means and how you can verbalize things to make it sound good.
Yeah.
And that's what Jada did.
Yeah, so I got a question for you. When people look at the relationship, and I'm using Will and Jada just because that's what we're talking about.
Hot topic.
But when people look at the relationship, it's treated different from the woman, quote unquote, cheating versus the man, quote unquote, cheating. And you said something to me earlier about the man is expected to cheat.
People don't look at men as faithful beings in general.
Why? Is my question.
I think that derives from childhood. We're always taught as girls that you're going to grow up. You want to grow up to be a woman that a man wants to have as his wife. We have all of these standards about how you should carry yourself with grace and be poised and be beautiful and be respectable and be domestic. And it's like, for a guy, you're not taught any of those things. Mm-hmm. But you look at it and you're like, okay, so I'm supposed to grow up to be somebody's wife. Well, why are y'all not teaching these boys how to be husbands?
Oh, that's I didn't think about that, but
because think about in your childhood, has anyone ever said you're gonna grow up to be a good husband one day as a little boy?
I don't remember.
Probably never happened.
Has anybody ever told you that?
Absolutely. People have said things to me about, you got to learn how to cook so you can be somebody's wife. As if that's all that I'm supposed to amount to in life, is being someone's wife or someone's mother.
Yeah. I don't know, like, because I think to answer your question about men not being taught as boys to be husbands is derived from, it's not a thing of teaching a man to be a husband, but just simply being a man and taking care of, because men are looked to take care of things. Men are looked to build things, to put things together, to change light bulbs, to, like, anything goes wrong, men are looked to fix it.
But they're also looked at to cheat. Because they can provide, they can do anything else they want to do.
And that's the narrative that I personally would like to change, because I don't think cheating is what most men, like, well, the men that I surround myself with, they're not cheaters.
Okay.
You know, they're not the ones that are going out here and with this woman, that woman, this woman, that woman, but they are providing for their families. They are. It's like, for me now, you know, you see a lot of people out here they're just trying to survive. Mm-hmm. They're just trying to figure it out for their family. Now, I ain't gonna say that everybody's not cheating or anybody's not cheating, but what I will say is I'm not seeing it, and it will be weird.
And it's not talked about either.
Right. But
nobody goes around saying, you know, I'm cheating on my wife.
Right. It's weird.
Because why did you get married?
Right. But the thing that, you know, that's interesting for the most part is just those roles of men being expected to cheat versus women not being expected to cheat because they're told or taught how to be a wife as a child. But I think it goes further than that when it comes to who's raising the children. Mm-hmm. Because I always look at it, and I'm kind of like shooting from the hip right now, but I always look at what am I as a parent, as a dad, what is my role?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I never think to tell Lily to like do things to get a husband because I did.
I mean, she's 10 months, so.
But I'm saying even in the future, like I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't learn how to cook to get a husband.
Right.
I learned how to cook so I could feed myself. That has absolutely nothing to do with getting a spouse.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we do a lot of things in our household in the traditional sense. So, like, for me, I didn't learn how to cook because I wanted a husband. I learned how to cook so that I could feed myself, right? And before I dated you, I had to put things together in my own house.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't waiting on some random guy to come over and build things for me. I read some instructions and figured it out. Or I messed up some stuff and threw it away and bought another one and figured it out.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that our relationship is traditional in that regard because if we buy something that's going to take more than 4 screws, a hammer, I'm not doing it. Yeah. And it's not that I can't do it. I'm just not going to. But you enjoy, I believe, building things. You don't?
No.
You sit down and you read the instructions like you're having the greatest time of your life. Like, I remember you putting together your grill.
I had a good time.
It was pure bliss. Like how you talk about me eating brookies, it was bliss on your face. Like you were in heaven. But if it came down to it, like recently, I installed Lily's car seat in my car. I could have just waited for you to do it, but it wasn't that big of a deal for me to say, let me get these instructions and go put it in the car. Yeah. I shouldn't have done it on the day that I did because it was like 95 degrees.
Right.
But I did it and I can do it. So I don't think that I would ever have that type of conversation with my daughter to tell her that she needs to learn how to do things because she's going to make a good wife if she knows how to do it. She needs to know how to be a good person. And that's it. Like, so you don't get married. Okay. So you do. Okay. But you need to know how to be a good person. And that's the things that I want to instill in her.
So.
I
think we had a great conversation. No, but man, it like just to kind of wrap everything up, man, I think when it comes to your relationship or your marriage or, you know, whatever, your life, make the decisions based off of what you plan, what you feel is right for you. Mm-hmm. Make the decisions off of how things will be helpful to you, because it's always good to know how somebody handled a situation, just because, you know options now. Mm-hmm. Because if you're hit with a new situation and you don't know how to react to it, you could react negatively to it. But if you see somebody that you don't even necessarily know, but you just hear somebody go through the same thing that you went through, you can take how they did it and kind of remix it to fit your life, you know, or remix it to fit the situation that you're in.
Yeah.
So that's the way like my initial thoughts on the whole entanglement thing was that is a very mature conversation or a very mature thing that they both agreed upon, because that was an agreement between them both
Yeah.
And because they didn't know where their relationship was gonna go. Now, as far as like basically the way I looked at it was Jada was just having sex with this dude.
That's how she put it. He was in love, but she was just like, I wanted to feel good.
Well, bam, thank you, ma'am.
She said she wanted to feel good, so I guess he made her feel good.
Well, I guess so. But that and that's the way I looked at it, as far as like, yeah, they, as far as like they was dating, because can they really date each other? I mean, like, your girlfriend and boyfriend, like, what was the end goal that he was planning on? And she didn't know. Well,
I guess at that point they were talking about divorce. So
yeah,
his end goal could have been,
I got
this gonna be my wife.
I got you. But I mean, hey, whatever works for people, I ain't gonna down them for. I ain't gonna, knock them for that, because it works for them. It may not work for me, or I may not agree with it, but it is a different way to look at it.
Just don't get entangled.
Work on your marriages, man. Like, work on your relationships.
I don't know how to not get entangled, but
I mean, like, it's simple. It's just,
I mean, but that's like telling people don't get separated, because
I mean, like, it's not telling anybody what to do or anything. It's just they decided to do that, and it worked for them because
they got back together.
25 years of marriage is 25 years of marriage.
Entanglements or not.
Right. Man, 4 years of marriage, or it'll be 4, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so
yes.
On August 21st, 4 years of marriage has not been easy. 7 years together has not been easy. But we've figured out a way to work through. Our conflict resolution has been amazing to get us this far. Yeah. Now, how do we evolve? Like we said in the beginning, we grow as people as we get older. Different things interest us as we get older, and old things don't. How do we continue to grow like each other, grow with each other, knowing that we're going to grow and like different things?
Right.
And so it's your conflict resolution has to grow with that same growth as your character does.
Right.
So, I mean, like, you mature in your relationship as well. So, I mean, you take that and whatever fits for you in your relationship, you make sure that you and your spouse, or you and your boyfriend or girlfriend or whoever it is, y'all talk about it and make sure things work out the way you want them to work. So,
yeah, do what works best for you.
Yeah, ultimately, and enjoy life. That's pretty much it. What's the quote for the episode?
Oh, before we get to the quote,
that.
Before we get to the quote, we are not doing a listener letter this week because we've taken such a long break. Don't think that they would be relevant.
Yeah.
But if you have a listener letter, please send your letters to ouraugustlovestory@gmail.com, and we may just read it aloud on the show. And today's quote is by Kendrick Lamar. It's probably what Jada told Will. I'm a sinner who's probably going to sin again. Lord, forgive me. Lord, forgive me. Things I don't understand. Sometimes I need to be alone. Don't kill my vibe.
And with that, people, I appreciate y'all listening.
Thanks for listening. Sorry that Lily is loud in the background, but that's what happens when you only have one child and they come in the studio with you.
Yeah. And all that. So this, like we said, this is season 3 of the August Love Story. And
stay safe, wash your hands.
Yeah. Wear a mask or don't. It's up to you, but let's kill this curve.
Knock it out.
And yeah. This episode was produced by 3Amp Media. And that's all I got.
All right, bye guys.
All right, peace.